Welcome to Developing the Leader Within podcast, the podcast that brings you leadership insights from the brightest minds shaping our world. Join us as we dive into conversation with trailblazers, innovators, and change makers, spanning every corner of the globe. Get ready to explore new perspectives, gain actionable insights, and become the leader the world needs today. Unleash your potential. Tune into Developing the Leader Within podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Let's embark on this transformative journey together. Developing the Leader Within podcast, leading beyond limits.
Welcome back, everyone. If you haven't subscribed, please do so right now, as it'll help getting our show to others and help us get to our next milestone. Make sure to catch us streaming on Roku and Amazon Fire TV on the Purpose Place Network, and catch our exclusive members-only content Going Deeper Within on the Lions Guide Academy. And today we're speaking with Caren Cooper. Caren is a TEDx speaker, yes, and an empowerment and mindset coach. She helps women break free from imposter syndrome, rewrite limiting beliefs, harness the power within themselves, unleash their inner uniqueness so they can show up confidently and authentically as the powerful entrepreneurs they were meant to be. Caren, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Oh my God, that was the first time I was introduced as a TEDx speaker. So cool. Okay, got it.
And I am so happy to have done so. Folks, she just finished her talk, and we're excited and proud of her. And we will be speaking about winning the silent battle, overcoming imposter syndrome in leadership. Before we get into that conversation, Caren, tell us a little bit about you.
I am, as you described, an empowerment and mindset coach. So you talked about what I do for a living, but who I am, I'm a mom of two young adult kids. Obsessed with disco and corny jokes. I even wore I'm going to stand up for y'all, my disco queen shirt for y'all. I'm unabashed in my love of disco and all things corny. And I am rediscovering who I am in midlife. So that is it's been an interesting journey for me. So that's who I am, other than what I do for a living.
Yes, and we're so proud of you. Folks, we transition all the time. There's always a transition point in our life where we have to decide, hey, who is this next version of who we want to be? And how can I make that the best for me and those around me? So congratulations to you on your TEDx. Congratulations to you on this next phase. Although sometimes those transitions come with pain, you're making the best to do with it. That's so happy for you. Now, many leaders struggle with imposter syndrome, as we was talking about the title, even after years of success. So what are some of the subtle ways it shows up in leadership that people might not immediately recognize?
By the way, just side note, when you said with the pain, it's so true. And I just love that you said that. I know I'm going off the cuff here, but because it's true, regardless requires a lot of pain, because it's the pain of letting go. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but when you get to the other side, it's awesome. Just saying. That being said, to answer your question, it doesn't always look like insecurity. It doesn't always look like what you think it looks like. It looks like overworking. It looks like proving yourself. It looks like you can't celebrate anything because you're way on to the next, task, the next anything. That's what it looks like. And mostly what it looks like, think about it. Do you speak up in meetings? Do you know the answer to something, or do you have a really good idea or a really big idea, but are afraid to share it because you're afraid of rejection? You're afraid of what people are going to say. There's some sort of fear there holding you back. And so you shrink and you hide and you don't show up as your true self. That's what it could look like as a leader.
That is such a common thing among leaders that have the potential of becoming that person that is the catalyst to the next best thing, but they shy away from the spotlight for some reason or another. Sometimes it is insecurities, and you don't want to be the loudest thing in the room to draw attention to yourself. But unless we do, how will they know?
Well, that's it. And the insecurity stems from, I mean, I mean, and I know we'll probably get into this even more deeper, but it's self-worth, and it's really not feeling enough and not feeling worthy. That's like the overarching theme, and that's where the insecurities stem from.
Absolutely. Now, as we talking about insecurity, you've worked with individuals who face self-doubt at various stages of their careers. What's the first practical step you recommend for someone who feels like they're not enough to lead?
To be aware of it. I mean, here's the thing, because a lot of time, think about this. Do you really know what you're saying to yourself and to others? And do you really know what you're thinking about? Sometimes you don't. Like, how many times have you said to yourself, maybe I'm so stupid, this is so silly, I can't believe, or any version of that, right? And you don't even realize it. I know I was like that. So, I can imagine other people listening are like that too. So it's really to be aware, and to really like kind of stop yourself from, oh my God, I said that. What was that about? You know what I mean? Isn't that interesting that I said that? So once you're aware of that, once you're aware of, like, wait, what was I thinking before I said that? What was I doing? Like, kind of like taking a stock of what was going on. Then you can be like, oh, that's what was going on, and that's why I said that. And then you can then make the appropriate changes. Um, in order of which to feel much better about, much more worthy and much more, enough, and that kind of a thing. It's really, when you feel that way, you're not connected to your body. You've given all your power away to someplace else. So you're not connected to yourself at the source. So how do you connect? Nervous system regulation.
Very powerful. As you were speaking, I was thinking about my son. We often have to remind him, don't say that, because
Yeah.
he would be like, oh, I'm so dumb. Oh, I'm so
Right.
stupid. And I was like, no, 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 no. Hold on now. You got enough enemies in the world that are going to call you that, right? You don't need to add yourself to that list.
That's beautiful, Enrique. I love that. You got enough enemies out there. I love that. And you know what? It's so true. But the problem is we're harder on our, we cheerlead for we tend to cheerlead for everyone else, and we tend to be kind to everyone else but ourselves. And it really stems from within.
Yes. And oftentimes those moments are moments where we are comparing ourselves to somebody. So
Correct.
comparison often fuels imposter feelings. How can leaders shift from comparing themselves to others towards embracing their unique leadership journey?
Actually spoke a little bit about this in my TED talk, quite frankly. Because it was, my talk was about, helping the future generation, and how, with everything going on in the world, how do we prepare them for the future? And what I spoke about was, a lot of times, even leadership in general, with the world that we live in today, everything is literally at our fingertips, 24/7, 7 days a week, right? So really, a lot of times the comparison is highlight reels, right? 90, I would say, I would venture, and I'm making a number up, but like I would say 90% of what you see on social media is in fact highlight reels, which is why I don't always show the highlight reels, because I believe in being honest and truthful about ups, downs, and everything in between. So that's number one. So you're comparing yourself to what you think is really happening. That's the first thing. But also, really, you're looking outside for something, right? Comparing is, I'm seeing this person doing that, I want that, I desire that, or something to that effect. The reality is, we are the cause and the effect, right? We are the problem and the solution. So it's really not to look for external validation, but internal validation. So it really, how do you um not compare? You look within, you look at yourself, and you look how fabulous you are. You pass the mirror and say, I'm a juicy snack. You know what I'm saying? You look within and look at the power that you have within, and look how phenomenal you are. There's literally nobody else like us. I'm me, you're you. There's literally, we're like one in like a trillion. Think about that. Right? So if you think about it in that lens, there's literally nobody like me. How freaking cool is that? And I offer these unique abilities, this unique perspective, because I'm me. And when you come from, and I'm worthy and I'm enough, right? And I love myself. And when you come from that extent, you show up as your bold, beautiful, authentic self. And then then everybody can feel that. So you're not looking outside, you're looking within. That's really the answer.
And I love that because it truly is the answer. Now, some people may see that as, oh, aren't you haughty, right? And in leadership roles, confidence and humility must coexist. So, how can leaders balance healthy self assurance without tipping into arrogance or self doubt?
Well, a few things. Number one is my post. I didn't even think about this. My post today was about the fact that I was like, oh, I can add TEDx to my to my repertoire, and I was like, I'm going to celebrate the hell out of it because it feels unbelievable, right? But there's a few things here. Number one, we were taught that it was a bad thing, right? We were taught that it's bragging, it's conceited, it's this, that, and the other thing. So it's really not. Okay, it's not about ego at all. It's actually about the fact that you're expanding yourself. So if we look at it from that perspective, number one, that's important. But also, you can't help how other people perceive things. You just can't do that, right? So you're going to show up people. There are always going to be people who have something to say. That's also, and understanding all of that. That all being said, it really comes down to self. It's about self-awareness. It's about really, like I said before, it's about knowing who you are and showing up in that being. When you're showing up as knowing who you truly are, you're not coming off as you're not coming off as conceited. You're not coming off like ego based. You're coming off as like, I'm standing in my power. I often talk about this when I talk to my clients and when I talk to people. If anybody ever saw the movie Wicked, right? And I'm not giving anything away, side note. Okay, towards the end when they're singing Defying Gravity, Cynthia Erivo is spiraling down in her broom. And as she's spiraling down in her broom, her little girl comes in and she literally looks at her little girl. And she's remembering her little girl and all the stuff that she went through as a little girl and to get to where she is now. And all of a sudden she's like, it's me. And then she goes all the way up and she like, that's when she really truly harnesses her power, so to speak. It's the same thing. And she's just showing up as who she really is at the core. There's a lot of us forgot who we were because of all the conditioning, all the limiting beliefs and all of that. So when you remember who you are and you show up as that, people are going to take notice and want to be with you.
Yeah, that's so true. I was fortunate and blessed 2 weeks ago, and this is not about me, it's just a fact. I was basically selected as Mr. Military Florida for 2026, right? So, in that, I was able to represent a military community that I love and also represent the professional side of myself, which I also love. But like you said, there's going to be this group that lauds you and applauds you, and then it's going to be this group that says,
Yep.
who do you think you are, right? So you just
Yep.
have to make sure that you are on your side, that you put the chips on you, that you promote yourself, right? Because, like I mentioned earlier, there's plenty of enemies out there that won't. So now, when it comes to individuality, that's a great thing, but leaders often have to direct teams. So in team culture, can either reinforce or dismantle imposter syndrome. What can leaders do to create an environment where authenticity and self-worth are encouraged?
Model it. And also part of what I talked about, you're getting snippets of my TED talk. First of all, the first thing is it's a two-part answer I'm going to give you. Number one is to model it. Okay. Number one is to not think they know everything. Right. So a leader can say, I don't know the answer to that question. Or what do you think? Or you know what I'm saying? Be a real, actual human being. Vulnerable. I made a mistake. I did. I screwed up. Let's celebrate, right? Having like that kind of being a real, actual human being, having open conversations. What do you think? What do you think? Oh my God, that's a great idea. How should we incorporate it? Those types of things, right? That's the first thing. And secondly, and I spoke about this in my TED talk, levity and fun. A lot of companies, Google, I read this about Google and Pixar, they're incorporating like dancing before meetings and like, improv things and, all these types of things, because when you're having fun, number one, it takes off all the pressure. right? So fun and levity for the win always, A, but B, it takes off all the pressure. So when a leader models fun and levity and ridiculousness, people are like, oh my God, they're human, and oh my God, and they feel less pressure, and having less pressure, it also gets you to be more creative, right? So when you're like just having fun and just being ridiculous and like whatever, you're modeling that for your employees, and then they can feel open and they can feel like, oh my God, I can come to him. Oh my God, I can be myself. And when that happens, the creativity flows and magic can happen.
Absolutely true. Now, there's often times that you go to work and they don't ever tap into your creativity. It's just do, model, 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 and no freedom whatsoever to ingest qualities
Right.
that actually will help the
Right.
company get better.
I worked in corporate for 20 plus years. I worked in the advertising industry, okay, in the early 90s. Okay. I started my career in 1991 with the Liquid 80s had floated. Fantastic. I mean, we worked hard and played hard. Don't get me wrong, but 100%, like we couldn't, that wasn't modeled at all in my career. And that's nobody's at fault for that. Nobody knew better, but it was 100% like, no, you have to get this quota, this has to get done, and blah, 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 and all that kind of things. And that's why one of the things one of my goals with what I do is to actually make corporate human again. I love to get into corporate America and have these conversations and talk about fun and levity and talk about mindset and talk about the fact that, like, when you humanize it, when someone's not performing to par, right? And that's the other thing to go back to your question, when someone's not, why? If they were performing a certain way and now they're not, something may have happened in their life that made them not perform that way. Why are we not asking them what's going on? You don't have to do anything about it per se, but it's okay. A leader can turn around and say, hey, I noticed you've been doing this way for so long, and now something happened, whatever it may be. Is everything okay? What's going on? Because a lot of times I know for myself, you're not saying what's going on, and sometimes you take that with you. Sometimes you can't help taking things with you. It just happens.
It's such a powerful thing as a leader to ask those three things. What's going on? You'll be surprised at what you'll get. Hopefully, as a leader, you're ready for those things, right? But it is so important to humanize your leadership, humanize your team with those three simple
Right.
words, right? What's going on? Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for
Marvin
sharing
Gaye was
that.
a smart
Now,
man when he asked those questions. So I'm just saying. Anyway, go
yeah.
ahead.
So you just finished your TEDx. What do you have coming up, and where can the viewer or the listener follow or support you?
Okay. So I have I have a few things. I have some things. So I'm writing the high, like real life happens like a week after the TEDx. It's like hilarious. Like, you come anyway. So I have a few things. Number one, I always have my program, Unscrew Yourself. It's one-on-one or group program, so you can always that's always available for people. And I also have another thing actually coming up, a workshop, a masterclass called Fear's Got Nothing on You. That is going to be on October 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And how you can get in touch with me with regards to all that. Follow me on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'm Caren Cooper, Caren. That's how you spell my first name, Cooper, Cooper, because I spell everything now because I've always spelled my first name. So follow me on all the socials, get in touch with me, let me know you heard me here, and then we can, go from there.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we'll have all the links necessary for you to be able to follow Caren and support her on her endeavors. Get in on one of those master classes and get unstuck, right? Get yourself on the right side of right. Today's episode is sponsored by the Global Trends Magazine, the Outlier Project, Fantail Services, Ascend Meditations, and Chop AI. And if you've enjoyed this episode and learned something interesting about the topic covered today, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let us know by leaving a comment. Tune in next week for another episode where we dissect leadership from another angle. And as we like to end the show, success to you.